Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Noon.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for 17 News at Noon. I'm Nicole Kitsky. Well, Kern County is set to move into the red, less restrictive tier. This move would allow students to return to school and open up restaurants, all with modifications. There are 4 tiers the state uses to measure how coronavirus is spreading in counties. County officials say Kern has been meeting requirements to move into the red tier since Wednesday. If the state gives us the green light to move into the red, restaurants, houses of worship, schools, gyms, and other businesses could open with modifications next week.
This change means that Kern will now have to meet 3 metrics for 2 consecutive weeks before we can officially move into the less restrictive tier. Those 3 metrics are now the adjusted countywide case rate of 7 per 100,000 population or below, a countywide testing positivity rate of below 8%, and a lowest quartile aggregate testing positivity rate of below 8%.
Now, we need to receive the state's approval before we can start reopening select sectors. Now, obviously, this is some pretty big news, but what does this mean for us here in Kern County? 17's Alex Fisher joins us now to explain a little further. So, Alex, what does this mean? Can we reopen today?
Okay, so there's a lot of concerns for a lot of people here because a lot of people are still concerned about how coronavirus is still spreading in our community. Here's the good news. The idea is that the lower we go in these tiers, the sooner we can fully reopen. There's no green tier, if you will, because Governor Gavin Newsom has said before that really we are a long ways to go before we can truly go back to normal where we were before the pandemic. So there's not even a green tier. These tiers, though, that we do have allow us to slowly reopen and get our economy back in order to where it should be. Now, here's the things that are allowed to reopen with some modifications under the red tier where we are headed here in Kern County. Gyms can open at a 10% capacity. Restaurants can open indoor dining to 25% capacity or fewer than 100 people, depending on, what comes first. Bars still remain closed if they do not sell food. So you can't just go to a bar and have a drink and socialize. Those are still closed. We'll have to wait into the next tier, the orange tier, before we can see bars start to reopen, and that's only if they can go outside and reopen. Houses of worship. A lot of people have been wanting to go back to their place of worship. They can reopen as well, but again, they have to be at 25% capacity or 100 people, whichever is fewer. And then schools. Here's the tricky part, because a lot of people think that under the red tier, schools can reopen. That is true. However, you have to wait an extra week. So we have to be in the red tier for at least 2 weeks before in-person instruction can resume in our classrooms, and there's still going to be a lot of modifications. Now, local schools, and we've already seen this here in Kern County, have already talked to our local health department about bringing small groups of people back into the classroom, but they have to get approval from our local health department.
So now the question is, we have been seeing red tier numbers for the past week. Do we just have to go one more week until we can start seeing these modifications?
Okay, so we're still in the purple tier as it is today, but we are on our way into the red tier, and hopefully, fingers crossed, if things continue, we could be officially in the red tier, meaning that those businesses can start to reopen next week. So we have to wait for the official word on October 13th, but not today. We'll have to wait one more week. Okay, so we'll have to continue to wait and see. But I mean, it's exciting news, I think, for a lot of local businesses here. People have been hunkering down, and it's a sign of relief to see, okay, we're meeting the testing numbers, we're meeting the testing positivity rate, infection rate, so we're starting to see a decline right now. Absolutely. I think the main concern that a lot of people have is that this virus is still spreading. The big question is going to be, how long are we going to last in the red tier? Are we going to get to the opportunity where we can advance even further into the orange and then the yellow tier? Or are we going to go back to the purple? It all depends on how this virus is spreading, and health officials, our local, federal, international, whoever you want to talk to, they say the reason why it is so important to wear a mask is to stop the spread of coronavirus. So if you're going to these places, even though they are open, and you're not wearing a mask, you're not protecting yourself and others from this virus, then we could see those numbers increase, the positivity rate and all those other case numbers increase, which could shut us back down. So fingers crossed we can continue moving in the right direction, but we'll have to wait and see.
I think that's an important reminder, too, that we can always backtrack.
Exactly. We can still go back into the purple tier. Some counties are going back into more restrictive tiers. We've seen that in the past, while some counties advance into less restrictive tiers. It all depends on how the virus is spreading in our county. So the state has been more focused on counties rather as the state as a whole, because California obviously is so big. So it all depends on how the virus is spreading in each individual county.
Well, definitely some exciting and positive news for us as we continue this trek through the pandemic. So thanks so much for that, Alex. All right, well, now to the latest cases here in Kern County. Public Health has announced 87 new cases and 1 new death. The number of lives lost in Kern now stands at 387. There are over 10,700 people recovering at home from the virus, while 47 are isolated at the hospital. We haven't seen a number that low in months. Kern County has seen over 32,000 cases of COVID-19 since the pandemic began back in March. And to help us keep moving in the right directions, testing is essential. There are places all around town you can get a free test. You can schedule a test by calling 211 or go to kerncounty.com. You can also make an account on this website, doineedacovid19test.com, to find a testing site and schedule an appointment. You can use that site to check your results from previous tests. And taking a look at your 17 Crime Watch, police are investigating a shooting in central Bakersfield that seriously hurt 1 person. It happened at 34th and Q Streets, just west of Memorial Hospital, around 4:30 this morning. Bakersfield police say the victim sustained major injuries and was taken to the hospital. Police have not yet released any suspect information at this time. And police are investigating a separate shooting that injured 2 people. BPD says it happened at MLK Park around 6:50 this morning. BPD says a shot spotter captured 10 rounds of gunfire. They found 2 victims, one with major injuries and another with moderate. Police say the suspect is described as a Hispanic male in his 20s. If you have any information, call BPD at 327-7111. Dozens of wildfires are burning across the state, and they are causing unhealthy air quality across the Golden Empire. That's why Golden Empire Transit is offering free bus rides all day. And for more information on Get Bus Rides, you can visit their website at getbus.org. And let's send things back over to Alex now. Alex, the air quality, it is bad again, once again.
Yeah, it's unhealthy for everyone, unfortunately. We've been seeing this for several weeks, if not months now, because of all those fires burning to the north, burning to the south of us. Visibility right now at the airport is at 5 miles. We should be at 10 miles right now, but because of all that smoke, it's just not going anywhere. Right now at Tehachapi, you're looking at 86 degrees, and visibility is at 7 miles. That's a little improvement from this morning, which is good news. All right, here are your headlines for weather. This is what you need to know for the next several days. We've got a lot of changes coming. We have the air quality alert that is still in effect through Sunday evening, 10:30 p.m. on Sunday. Fingers crossed we could see an improvement in our air because of a low pressure system that's making its way into the west coast. So fingers crossed. We do have a 20% chance of a rain shower Friday night into Saturday. It's not going to be a huge rainmaker, but it could bring us some rain showers just to clean out the air, hopefully. We'll see below average temperatures return in just a couple of days. What does that mean? 70s for the Bakersfield area, for the valley locations, and the 60s for Tehachapi, something that I think we're going to all enjoy, especially since we've been above average for several days. I also want to talk about the tropics because we are seeing a very big storm that is making its way into the Gulf Coast right now, and it is going to be a major hurricane. We've already had a very busy hurricane season so far. Right now, we're in the Greek alphabet, and we're at Delta. Hurricane Delta is a Category 4 storm right now with winds at 140 miles per hour. It was at 115 miles per hour this morning, so it is strengthening, and it is going to continue to go up the Gulf Coast into Louisiana, maybe between a Category 3 or a Category 1 hurricane. We're still keeping an eye on this, but it all depends on if it continues to strengthen, but it will be hitting the area this weekend. We're looking at the 90s today here on the valley floor, and in the Kern River Valley, you're also looking at the 90s as well. The Tehachapi Mountains are looking at the 80s, and the desert community is looking at the 90s as well today. We've got the 90s for just a couple more days before we start to see relief this weekend, and we have that chance of rain, of course. The mountains are going to see the 60s this Saturday and Sunday, and the Kern River Valley is going to be hot today, and then we'll start to see the 70s by Saturday.
"17 News is your local election headquarters. Now it's 28 days until Election Day, and ballots are in the mail heading to registered voters across California. Some polling places across the state opened as early as yesterday. Some voting centers opened October 24th, and they will open by October 30th. Voters can utilize any center. Voters coming inside to cast a ballot in person must wear a mask. Ballot marking devices will be sanitized after each use. Hand sanitizers and wipes at each station, and social distancing is required while voting and outside while waiting in line. Early bird voters said it's the way to go, either in person or by the drop box.
When they said that they would be announcing early voting here, I said I want to physically do it. I want to be able to see it, and I'm kind of like the Paul Revere for my neighborhood.
California voters can track their ballots this year. People sign up can get a text message, email, or phone call when the county receives their ballot and counts it. Well, here at home, local voting officials say mail-in ballots should start arriving this week. But if you haven't received yours by October 16th, officials say you should contact the Kern County Elections Office. Your vote must be postmarked on or before November 3rd and must arrive at the Elections Office by November 20th to be counted.
So people who may be concerned a little bit about delays in the postal service, that does give extra time, although we still would encourage people to if they're going to mail it early.
Processing ballots begins as early as October 20th. You can visit KGET.com to get a step-by-step look at the vote-by-mail process and a link to ballot tracks to help track your vote. Just click on the hot link icon on our website.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Noon.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to KGET.com.